And with that, I think we're ready. So if you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And it looks like we have one from Sarah Spencer from the AJC.
Hey, welcome to Atlanta. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So I think yesterday was y'all's first team practice. Were you able to practice again today as a team? And what has it been these first few days, just learning a new team, learning a new system, adjusting to, kind of a whole new organization?
Yeah, we just, it's crazy. The first part, just individual. And then, today we got a chance to really get after it. And it's exciting, to see. You see certain teams as you're in the league that they're like waiting for something. They're waiting for a certain player or waiting for a combination of players. And with Trae Young, with Cam Reddish, with Dre, Collins, Kevin, and the guys that we brought in, you've had the nucleus. And now it's about, putting in a good amount of guys, a good amount of vet guys to kind of steer them in the right direction. You can't get lost in this league. Being a team that's not in the playoffs, you kind of don't know what you're looking for or how to play. And it's exciting having a guy like Rondo, Coach Matt coming over, Gallo. It adds a presence, and you can feel like the guys are open to it. I think maybe if this would have went on for a couple of years, it would have been harder to get, 3-time All-Star and like Trae Young to kind of buy into trying to create a culture. But with the guys that we have now, we're very confident that not only that we can compete in practice, but when those guys are very eager. They've been off for like 9 months, and they're eager and young to really get after it, and they're waiting for that first opportunity.
Thank you.
Next question from Edwin Powell of Hawks Beat.
Welcome to Atlanta, man. You guys had a tremendous run last year. What did you learn from that experience, and what can you use? How can you use that experience to help these guys on this team?
Honestly, we had I think the locker room, the culture in the locker room allowed guys to be ready. It was a weird thing that we had almost like every round we had like a new leading scorer. And so, what you try to get guys to understand and buy into is if your ultimate goal is winning, you have to buy in 2 feet all in on how we're going to win. It may be a certain matchup that we're trying to go at, and it may mean that Trae may not get as many shots that game that he's used to getting because, JC has a matchup that we want to exploit, or, Kev has it going and we want to continue to ride Kev or Gallo or finish the game with Rondo. I think what we want to do here is we want to get guys to understand that we're trying to win, and it means that everybody's going to have to sacrifice every night. It may not go your way. It may not go your way for a couple games, but understand the ultimate goal is we want to win it all. We want to win a championship. We've seen that the right type of team can win in the East with the right preparation and the right group of guys, and so we want to bring that intensity. It's weird of being like, today we're going after it, and coach is like, the guys are going to be sore. Because he said some of the guys haven't played in like 9 months. Me and Rondo kind of just looked at each other and was like, man, it's been like 56 days, honestly, between us and competing. So we're trying to find that area of how do we be very competitive in practice while knowing that the season is right around the corner. So it's been very exciting, but we really have to try to instill it as fast as possible, is that everybody may not be happy. But that doesn't. The happiness needs to come from winning. When we get to the playoffs and you get that atmosphere, whatever atmosphere we're able to get, that's what we want to get to. We want to make that a normal thing.
Next question from Jamila Johnson, ATL Hawks fans.
Hey, welcome to Atlanta. So my question is, the NBA released the half-season schedule, and the Hawks didn't get a lot of national TV love. Was that surprising to you, especially with there being an all-star on the team? And also, I have another question, a follow-up question as well after that.
Yeah, no, not at all. When I was in New Orleans, we talked about it with AD. As soon as AD left and they drafted Zion, they put Zion on the Christmas Day, I believe, where like he had a prime time game, and AD was talking about how it was crazy. He didn't say it, but I was thinking like, as many years I played here with AD, he didn't even get that game. So you have to understand that the NBA is a business. If we want to get those games, we have to show why we have to get those games. We wasn't a team they wasn't showing our game. We wasn't in the playoffs. We wasn't in a deep run. So the NBA wants to make money. TV wants to make money. We have to understand that. The best thing that we can do is go out, compete, try to go as far as we can. If we can win it all, we expect the TV game, and we have to meet those expectations. We look at the people that are playing on Christmas. I still don't think the Pelicans should be on Christmas. There's nothing personal, but Zion wins. Zion is he's a machine for him, and we just have to kind of put that chip on our shoulder. I think we have a lot of young guys that want those games, they want those opportunities, and we have to take that chip and put it on our shoulder and carry it throughout the season.
Thank you. And my follow-up question is, I know you watched the versus with Jeezy versus Gucci. Who do you think won?
You know what? It's tough because, I think Gucci wanted to play, like he said a couple times, he wanted to play some new stuff. I honestly wanted the bigger Gucci music set, and Jeezy stuck to his guns. I always said Thug Motivation 101 is probably one of the best albums that, for me as a fan, those two have been, huge in my upbringing. But once he got to Thug Motivation 101, it was no comparison.
Thank you.
Back to Sarah.
It's such a unique experience with both you and Rondo and the playoff experience you guys just both had, coming to a team that, was 20-47 last year, but is trying to make the playoffs now. What can you guys, with the postseason experience that you just had and have had in the past, what can you guys bring to this team to maybe propel it forward on the path it wants to go this year?
I think it's Coach Lloyd has done a really great job of letting guys get the opportunity to just go out and make mistakes. Cam, Trey, Kev. I just keep saying those, like, just the core of, like, JC, Trey, Kev, Cam. They've been able to go out there and just play, make mistakes. Some guys don't get that in this NBA, especially for them being so young. So now it's about them understanding the opportunities that are presented. We don't need 5 guys to go get 20, but we do defensively have to turn it up a notch. And, that's what Rondo brings. That's what I bring, is like, hey, we have to have attention to detail, because Rondo's like, he's one of those guys that just get him to the playoffs. And so now we just have to manage, that's coach's job. He's going to manage the team to put us in the best position to get to the playoffs. And then when we get to the playoffs, it's about every little detail. I think that was a big thing with the finals was, there's talent. Every team has talent, but who's gonna make those changes? Who's gonna pay attention to film? Who's gonna make that sacrifice on the court, and make changes on the fly? I think a lot of what we were doing in the finals was a lot of changes on the fly, trying to make adjustments. When Rondo comes in, what does he look to do? And those guys will understand that when we get to the fourth quarter in some games, when we're trying to close out games, what are we trying to go to? Who's in the game? I think for the last couple of years, they've just been playing basketball. And now they will see, like, Rondo's attention to detail. They'll see my attention to detail. When Gallo's out there and, we got 6 pump fakes and 5 of them are Gallo's, it's like, hey, we have to understand what type of player he is on our team. Now we're going to go play games, and, it's going to be a quick turnaround where it's like, okay, what does Jaylen Brown do? Okay, what does Kevin Durant do? We have to have this really nice attention to detail, especially during this time. I don't think we can be able to, when we go to the city, can't go anywhere. You got to stay in your room. So we're going to watch film. We're going to try to get advantage as much as we can, as quick as we can, because, it's 72 and they have a plan and all these type of things. And we want to be the team that puts ourselves in a comfortable situation at the end of the season.
That attention to detail that you're talking about, is that a luxury that the Hawks have now that they've added a handful of kind of seasoned vets who can impart that to this young core that's trying to learn?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think a lot of the guys that are here, they've just been able to play basketball. It's crazy. Somebody was talking about O, and I was just like, wow, O is not too far removed from high school. Yeah, he did. But I always say them guys do 6 months. They don't do a full year of college. So we have a lot of guys that are just used to being better than people, and it's like, okay, the NBA is compromising all those type of guys. There's a guy that was just like you, that has stats like you in college. It's the attention to detail that's going to give you that advantage. If you think you're just going to go out and just play basketball against some of the best players in the world, you're going to lose. And we don't want to understand that with losing. We want to take full advantage of that. And one thing that's huge about Bill, when I had him in New Orleans, is that the film doesn't stop when coach says, all right, we're going to leave. We had our own film sessions, and guys will start to understand, like, wow, okay, I get that. This will be open for me. Or, you don't have to work as hard. if you know what you're doing on the court and you're confident in it, you know, there's a subtle confidence that allows you to just play your game instead of, like, I call them oh shit moments where you're like, oh, I fucked up, or it's like my bad. It's like we want to eliminate those as much as possible.
Thank you.
And our final question will come from Don Stinson of DNA Sports Talk.
How you doing? Welcome to Atlanta.
Appreciate it.
You've been fortunate to be around different locker rooms. What type of locker room culture are you looking to try and help with this particular team and what you're used to?
You know, comparing it to last year, you had a lot of guys that kind of that came from different places and came together for one common goal. I think here, our young guys have expectations for themselves, as they should, as every top 10 pick ever should. You know, when you come into this league as a top pick, you have these, you know, these things that you want to accomplish. And now it's about trying to get guys to buy into sacrifice. You know, I think Drake can be a guy that can be a first team all defensive player. You know, now if he buys into that, that's him. You know, Cam is that certain type of guy as well. Cam, you know, in a situation where I'm thinking, it's not, you know, it's not coach or anybody like, I'm like, well, maybe you may benefit from playing with Rondo. That may make a sacrifice of you coming off the bench. I'm not saying that that's our starting five, but now you can come off, you know, Rondo is going to get you involved a lot different than, you know, when we're in that the starting five, we have Bogey, we have Trey. It's like maybe Dre is that guy that anchors that first unit, and then, you know, Cam, you're still able to do what you do. They all have things that they want to accomplish. It's kind of just what makes sense for this team, and it's not taken away from them. You know, JC, we want JC to be a all defensive team type of player. So we have to have these guys buy into defense. Everybody has to buy into defense. We have guys that can score. Bogey over here to score. We got Trey, who's a starting point guard, all-star. And we have to just understand that, you know, in order to give ourselves the best chance of winning any game, we have to do it with defense. Everybody has to play defense. It doesn't matter who you are. And that's what I have to get the guys in the locker room to understand, is that we can score. We've shown that Trey can go get 50. We have guys that can go get 20, 30. Everybody's done that, but it's not going to be one on offense. It's going to be one on defense. So I'm going to just keep beating that into guys. It's just like, hey, if we're a top 10 defense, you know, we kind of just write our ticket to being in the playoffs. If we don't, we're kind of playing with fool's gold.
All right. That was our final question for you, Solomon. Thank you. Welcome.
Appreciate
Looking
you.
forward to doing this again.
Thank you. Thank you.